All right, everybody, this is part 6 of the Camper 9.0 build. It's been nearly 2 weeks since the last update. I apologize. It was a combination of two things. One is I've had nothing bad, but just a couple things that I had to deal with. My wife had a surgery. She's fine. It was planned, but I spent a little bit more time helping her out with some stuff. And I got a little bit of project fatigue. I've talked about that before, but sometimes that happens, mid or 2/3 of the way through a project, and then finally the last one was I was kind of hoping, outside of those two factors there, I was kind of hoping to have had the initial coating on this by this point in time. And I was going to delay the video just a little bit to where the next video would have the coating on it, because I know right now this camper is probably not looking great. It's looking a little patchy, and I'll explain that in a second. But it's been almost 2 weeks, so I said, you know what, let's go ahead and do an update. So let's talk about things that I have done since the last video. And as a recap to the last update, basically I had got most of the skin, or in this case what is the 1/4-inch plywood on the outside mounted. However, this back portion had not been completed yet, and this is kind of one of those stages in the project where little things take a long time. So in the last update, though, you guys saw that what will be the AC cabinet was taking shape in frame form, but now it's been skinned or covered with the plywood. So just as a recap, this right here will be that door. So this will be a system very much akin to that of Camper 8.0 and really the Van 1.0 project too. So this will be a door that will open. So when you run the AC, this will allow the condenser, the heated air, to exit from the condenser. Over here on either side, these gaps will be grates, and it's going to be kind of concealed under this little overhang here, but there's another vent up here. And over here, this is the door. Obviously there has to be some finish sanding and stuff, but all the hard work has essentially been done, and it is, what do they call this, a Dutch door, I guess. I've had people ask for that, for a Dutch door, many times over the years, probably since I first started building campers. And I mean, I don't have anything against them, but I just never really saw the point. However, on this particular one, again, a lot of, between 8.0 and this one now, a lot of people have concerns about the tailgate, well, in 7.0 too, with the tailgate being shut. It'd lock you in there. And I created a couple mechanisms to help prevent that. But, I said, this may be a good time to just go ahead and give a Dutch door a shot. I think that's what they're called, if I got that title wrong. But basically a door that will open up like this. So the way that this is going to work is, so this bottom half, it will sit slightly above the tailgate. So this upper portion can open with the tailgate shut. And, right now, obviously there's no interior finishing, but I'll have, all the trim and everything will be sanded nice, but there'll be an inset EPS panel covered in the fabric that will cover this whole doorway. Of course, this is the cutout for the lock set. Frame is all hardwood. This is poplar, and it's very light. I'm using very, very heavy duty security hinges. So these can't be taken apart externally. They're fixed. It was a nice bit of serendipity on 8.0. I only used, when you buy a package of these hinges, and they're pretty spendy, I think, don't quote me, I think they might be like $70 for the set. They come with a set of 3. On 8.0, because the door was so short, I only used 2. I didn't think it was necessary to use all 3 hinges, so I saved one of them And then for this camper, of course, I bought another packet of 3, so that allowed me to have 4 hinges, hence, 2 for each door. So that was a nice little bit of serendipity, and another reason why I said, okay, let's give the Dutch door a try. Down here, this little, if you guys notice, this has a little bump out. It's just a few inches, but on the interior, that will give an extension for the footbox of the bed. I think it's going to give me 78 inches, if my memory serves me, of usable space. That is with the insulation in place, so it's actually longer if you were to take the insulation out, which is not, but for usable space. And then I put a nice hardwood piece of support here, and then there'll be a Rotopax mount, and just kind of like I've done traditionally on a lot of the past campers, I'll have a 1-2 gallon fuel tank underneath there. Just give it a nice little look. And yeah, so it's coming well. There will be I meant to talk about this on the door here, but on the inside here, the way that this will work is on this bottom lip here, I'll take a piece of hardwood that extends all the way across, and it'll be attached to the bottom side here. And then above that will be an equal in thickness piece of wood that runs all the way across. And then I have this piece of hardware that I found on Amazon. Let's see, what do they call it here? Heavy duty slide bolt gate. Let's pull this bad boy out. So this is the first door like this I've made, but I think this will work. Let's see here. There's hardware for Dutch doors out there, but I just saw this and thought this looked nice. So the way this would go is this would stick on that cross piece that attaches to the bottom, and then I'll probably actually have a little thicker extension up here at the top. But this top piece will sit there, and when I want the doors to be linked, this will be in the lower form, and then I want them to separate. I'll open it up like this, and then that will allow the bottom one to swing independently. At least that's how I think it should work. Thought it was kind of cool. Reminded me of like I don't think they intended it for this, but it's actually a pretty heavy duty piece of hardware. It reminds me of like a little, what do you call it? Bolt action on a rifle or something. Thought it was kind of cool looking. So that's the hardware I'm going to use. I'm sure there's different ways that they make these doors, but for my purposes, this is how I will do it. I did have one thing I liked about the campers where the back door or the back tailgate shut is it's kind of extra security, because at least on my truck, my tailgate locks when you lock the truck. So with the full door with the tailgate up, you could kind of have 2 major lock systems to defeat. You'd have to defeat the tailgate one and then one on the door, and that'd be a lot of work. Doing the Dutch door here kind of takes away that ability, because hence this upper part would open and swing out past the tailgate there. But my hope is that piece of hardware will be hardy enough to kind of make this like a solid door for security purposes. So yeah, I don't know in the end if I'll like it or not, but I don't think it's going to hurt anything. We'll give it a shot. Over there, I'm going to add a little bit of a raised panel, and that'll be a lashing point for outdoor gear, shovels or something like that when that's done. So this phase of the project, I had some of this stuff on the back to do. I had to finish the door, because obviously the door will be coated in the same way the body of the camper was. And the way I've done it the last couple campers is I'll actually basically finish up the entire exterior of the camper before I move into the interior. So theoretically, if I wanted to put this on the truck without the interior completed, I could. That's just kind of the way I've been doing it. So getting the door done is part of that. Now, phase 2 of this final section, which I finished up today, doesn't look pretty by any means, is these 1/4-inch raised sections here. Can any of you guys guess what those are for? Well, that's where the flexible solar panels are going to mount. And I didn't get a lot of views. I was a little surprised, but I posted a video yesterday talking about some experiments I did on ways to try to keep the solar panels cooler and or prevent large amounts of heat from transferring into the camper. In the little experiment I did, I found that if you raise even just a 1/4 inch, which this is, the panels off, and then this will be the air space or the air gap underneath, the adhesive will actually attach to these raised sections here, and then put in a foil tape, which I'll put in after I apply the finish, of course. It can actually have a really notable change in how much heat is transferred from the solar panels into the roof. So I'll link that video in there. I thought you guys might find it interesting. But anyways, that series of experiments directly informed my decision to create these raised panels. They don't look very attractive now, of course, but you know, this will be all universally coated with the same color. And then of course the solar panels will mount up there. And then the final step is I've been kind of doing it off and on, but filling in holes and imperfections and sanding everything smooth. Something I've been doing on this one is I know it's a little unconventional, but I've actually just been using the same construction adhesive that I found for attaching everything together. I found that if you that's actually really effective at filling in screw holes and little imperfections. So a lot of those I've been actually filling in with that construction adhesive. I'll use a spreader like this and just kind of wipe it on nice and smooth and let it dry, and you can sand it down. If you get too thick, it can cause some problems, but you can work around those. So but I'll be next, it doesn't have to be quite as perfect, but the final phase outside of finishing the back here and getting the top done for the solar panels is going through and doing all the finish sanding, all the body work, if you will, so that it has a nice, smooth, and even and consistent surface for all that, for the Duraback that'll go on this to protect this to go on to. So that's a pretty long task unto itself. I have done quite a bit of it, but as I'm sure you guys notice, I have a lot more work. So this phase is tedious. It's not necessarily my favorite things to do. I did enjoy kind of building out the rear there and making the door and everything, but at this point it should be just a matter of a week or so before I get the first coats of the Duraback on this camper, and then what I'll do is I'll push it out in the driveway. I'll let it sit out there for a day or two. That's not even necessarily for the curing process, but that's for the process of seeing it in natural light, walking around, and I'm going to try to get it right the first time, but I acknowledge that sometimes there's imperfections or little things that you miss that are easy to miss, you know, the first time around. But when you get the coating on it, you get it out in good natural light, sometimes those imperfections will show up, and if it's something that needs to be repaired, I can do a repair, and then I'll do the final overall coat on this and get this done, and then be moving to the interior. So but hope this is helpful. I've been releasing a lot of random videos lately. I do appreciate those that watch them. Helps the channel. A lot of them I've been kind of doing experiments and stuff to kind of inform my decision-making process on certain things I'm doing on this camper. And some of them are products and stuff that I think you guys might like. I do have I'm going to build another power station here, but per the viewer demands, I've had a lot of people that mentioned it. I am going to make it here in this toolbox, so it will be a true independent power station, and this particular one is rolling. So I'll be working on that through probably the rest of the week into the weekend, and maybe releasing that video shortly. I think you guys will like that one. I'm actually pretty excited about that project. Anyways, if you're new here by chance, subscribe. But otherwise, I appreciate all of you. Hope you guys are all doing well, and talk to you later.